What is the function of film score? Think about it. If your favorite movie didn't have any music in it, would it be nearly as exciting, as adventurous, as suspenseful? Probably not. In fact, film composers have 6 specific functions for their own film scores. Sometimes the director will come to the film composer and ask them for a specific type of piece to set up the mood or the tone. We're going to take a look at 6 different functions that film composers use in their movies. Take a look at the 6 clips in front of you. Look familiar? If not, they will be by the end of this video. The first film score function we're going to go over in class is intensify or relax pace. Think of a very famous car chase scene in one of your favorite movies. The action before the scene typically is something calmer, something that's not so frantic. And then all of a sudden people are chasing each other. Suddenly the pace of the entire film is picked up in a single second. So, to reflect this in the score, sometimes film composers have to match what's happening on screen to what's happening in the music. One of my favorite examples is from an Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Do you remember the iconic motorcycle chase as Indy and his father are being chased by the Nazi soldiers? The music during that scene goes from being very calm to very frantic in almost under 10 seconds. Take a look at this picture. Does this setting make you feel anything? Does it make you feel suspenseful, or excited, or happy? Everybody's different, but it at least should make you feel something. This is our second film function, create atmosphere. A composer needs to set up what to expect from the entire film with his first note of his film score. Think about your favorite scary movie. Why is it so scary? The composer usually is very successful at creating a very scary atmosphere simply from his score. So, one function of film score is to create an atmosphere. Remember that slide that talked about mood and tone in music? We're going to revisit that when we hit on our next film function, express unspoken thoughts of a character. So, there are many times in movies where characters aren't talking, but the audience can understand a lot of what they're thinking. This is done through great acting and also great film score. Several times during movies you'll see sequences where actors aren't talking, but there is a lot happening. And even though you can't hear what they're saying, you can at least feel what they might be feeling. Our next function, source music, is a little harder to identify. This is music that would actually be playing in a scene from a movie, as if the characters had started it. Take a look at our 2 Disney friends here. They're playing a record player. They're actually playing music in the scene. This would be source music. So a film composer has to be very, very careful to place source music into a scene that fits the movie. For example, if you're doing a movie set in the 1940s, you wouldn't use source music from the 1980s. Unless you're watching Back to the Future, which that's a whole different story. Our 5th film function is probably the neatest film function there is. Provide unity to a story. This happens when you have a series of movies that all tie in together. I'm thinking things like Harry Potter, the Godfather trilogy, and of course the iconic Star Wars. In Star Wars, composer John Williams wrote themes for nearly every character in the entire series. So, he has a way of weaving his themes through each movie so that when you hear a theme in an earlier movie, it often will come back in a later movie, providing unity to the storyline. And last but not least, our 6th function of film score is reflect emotion. This is one for all you lovebirds out there. This is one that needs to be present when you have characters that are trying to reflect something with their actions. This is the most prominent when you see 2 people on screen that are falling in love with each other. The music needs to be lush and romantic to reflect what they're feeling. Finally, in Path 2, you'll get a chance to take an in-depth look into one of the lives of one of my favorite composers, John Williams. John Williams is responsible for a lot of different movie scores, but most notably Star Wars, Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, and many, many, many more.